the asshole for marrying my husband's younger brother after he died? I, Catherine of Aragon, 48F, was previously married to Arthur of England, M15 at time of death. But when he died, I decided to marry his younger brother Henry VIII, M18, in 1509. I was married to him until 1533, when I gave birth to Mary I, 0F at time of birth, and failed to give him a male heir. So, subsequently, he said that since I was already married, the marriage was invalid, and we were technically never even married. He then started his own Church of England because the Pope said he couldn't divorce me. Finally, in 1533, he granted me a divorce, and I lived out the rest of my life in the English countryside with Mary I. So Reddit, am I in the wrong?
Am I an asshole for marrying my boss's husband, cheating on him, and then getting executed? Lol. I, Anne Boleyn, 36F, was working for Catherine of Aragon as a lady in waiting when her husband, Henry VIII, 42M, began to make advances on me. I refused his advances since he was married to my boss, but when he got a divorce from her, he thought that we could finally date. I continued to say no until I got a marriage proposal in 1533. When we finally got married in secret, I gave birth to a daughter, Elizabeth I, 0F. Then he got mad because I didn't give him a male heir. He then got all jealous out of nowhere and accused me of cheating on him, which I basically didn't even do. But since he wouldn't believe me and ended up sentencing me to be beheaded anyways. So Reddit, do I really deserve a beheading, or is my husband just being overdramatic?
Am I the asshole for dying during childbirth and making my husband sad for 2 years? I, Jane Seymour, 29F, was the third wife of Henry VIII, 43M. I married him almost immediately after Anne Boleyn, 36F, was executed for being a traitor to the country. I never got a coronation, but while I was giving birth to Edward VI, 0M, I happened to die. Whoops. It made Henry so sad because I was the only wife to provide him with a male heir, so subsequently, I'm the only one he's entombed next to in St. George's Chapel. After my death, he stayed in mourning for 2 years, so Reddit, am I the asshole for dying?
Am I the asshole for catfishing my husband so he would pay for me to move to England? I, Anne of Cleves, 25F, was born into a minor German noble family, but I sent Henry VIII, 49M, a picture of me that makes me look so much prettier than I look in real life. So he paid for me to come over to England to be his fourth wife. But when I showed up, however, he found out that I was a two-timing catfish and divorced me within 6 months. I still continued to live on the English countryside using his money though, and we remained friends until for the rest of his life. So, am I in the wrong for catfishing a man so I could gold dig, or not?
Am I the asshole for lying about my dating history so that I can marry my boss's husband? I, Catherine Howard, 18F, was a maid of honor to the catfish Anne of Cleves, 25F. Since I was prettier, Henry, 49M, courted me instead. I was so flattered that I told him I had never courted anyone prior, but that was a fat lie. After we got married, and he found out that I was a hoe on the low, he sentenced me to death, which is so unfair. So Reddit, am I wrong for lying about my dating history so that I could get with my boss's husband?
Is my husband the asshole for dying because I was too kind to him? I, Catherine Parr, 31F, am the sixth wife of Henry VIII, 53M, and I was named after his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. I looked after the king, slowly dying a painful death due to a life full of gluttony and sin, but I was able to look past that even though I'm a devout Protestant zealot. When he finally passed away in our 4th year of marriage, I became the only wife to not end on bad terms with Henry. After his death, I continued to hold a prominent position within the monarchy since I was well liked by my stepchildren Mary I and Elizabeth I, the Tudor queens of England. In history, I remembered as a very kind woman who looked after a sickly aging king. So Reddit, am I in the wrong for being too kind to my husband? Hello, this is Henry VIII. You may be wondering why it was such a big deal that I uprooted the religious beliefs of the English people to marry some Spanish lady. And to tell you more about the history of Catholicism in England is my mate Lele.
The Church of England's earliest origins date back to the Roman Catholic Church's influence in Europe during the 2nd century. In the 11th century, Catholicism began to develop through expansion via the Crusades. It was eventually adopted by many European rulers by the 15th century. The Catholic religion became incredibly ingrained in European society, an example of this being the conquistador quests of Spain in Central and South America. During the Reformation period of England in the 16th century, Henry VIII was made the head of the English Church through the Acts of Supremacy, thereby establishing the Church of England. Henry VIII left the Catholic Church and formed his own church because the Pope refused his request for a divorce. The Church of England is still the foremost denomination in England to this day.
You may still be wondering,
Why I put those women through hell and back to get a male heir? Well, that's because the European customs of the time stated that a woman could not properly lead a country without a male heir. England would be ostracized from the rest of the global community and would lose the power and significance that had been gaining for the past millennia. So it was of the utmost importance to have a son to take the reins of the kingdom when I died. Anyways, thank you for watching and toodaloo.